council meeting of October 20th, 2020 will now please come to order. Due to this meeting being a virtual meeting, council is asking if anyone who would like to address council that is participating through the computer, please use the chat feature now to let Clerk Massarolo know that you have a comment, and you will be called on during the comment portion of the evening. If you are calling on a phone or do not have access to the chat feature, we will give directions during the public comment portion of our meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Broussard.
Present.
Mr. Glassburn. Mr. Glassburn.
Here.
Ms. Heeman.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Limpert.
Present.
Mr. Schuman.
Here.
Ms. Williamson.
Here. If there are no additions or corrections, the council meeting minutes of October 6, 2020 are approved as written. The following legislation will be considered for suspension of the rules this evening. On first reading, Resolution 2020-113. Mayor Kennedy, do you have a report this evening?
Madam President, I do. On October 15th, Governor DeWine announced that Cuyahoga County returned to level 3 red public emergency due to the recent increases in COVID-19 infections. Senior center staff uses Ohio Public Health Advisory System to determine if and when conducting in-person activities is safe. Therefore, as of Friday, October 16th, the senior center building closed and in-person activities and appointments were suspended until further notice. Once the county returns to level 1 or 2 public emergency, the building will reopen. Virtual programming and senior services continue to be done virtually in the meanwhile. Recreation is in its final 2 weeks of renovation of the rink. We will open up and we will continue to work to the last minute to do the final touches to make sure it's in perfect shape. We plan to open November 2nd. And Trek at the Rec, which is passing out candy to kids, is this Friday. I believe it's at 4:30. We still have space, and we encourage anyone that wants to sign up by Thursday. It'll be a safe and fun event. And Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Law Director Garreau, do you have a report this evening?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of quick notes. First, there's some updated language on the website for North Olmsted regarding the description of the charter amendments that are on the ballot. My first crack at it resulted in many people saying it was a little too legalese, so I decided to go back and clean it up so people could understand what I was talking about, because I apparently put a little too much lawyer into that, and I apologize. So hopefully you got some clean language on there that's a little more helpful for people understanding what is exactly on the ballot. Another thing is concerning Westbury Holdings. So this is a case that's gone on for some period of time. I just want to give you just a small bit of history and let you know where things stand. This case was originally filed. This is the Westbury apartments at Brook Park and Great Northern Boulevard. And this case goes back to 2016. So we had commenced criminal charges in Rocky River in 2016 concerning the wall and the condition of the balconies. And we were seeking maintenance violations for continued ongoing maintenance problems associated with that. So just to give you some history, back in April of 2017, there was a plea that was taken, and the plea had a diversion program, and the diversion program included a stipulated sentence, probation, a $350,000 fine, $15,000 of which would be paid, $335,000 of which would be stayed suspended pending compliance. So that was back in 2017. Well, a permit wasn't pulled to do the work until late 2018, and that permit's still open. So far this year, the court sent the parties to mediation on the 13th of January this year, February 14th of 22, 26, 23, 18, 20. Mediation has been a failure. Status conference was set for June 23rd. We set a probation violation hearing for July 22nd, and we had it briefed on July 10th. Now, this is of 2020. This is for a 2016 criminal case. So July 17th of this year, all proceedings were stayed, and the judge has refused to find a probation violation, even though we're 4 years out and the work is not yet completed. Now, you will remember on March 15th of this year, a large section of that building collapsed and fell onto the ground below, which is exactly why they were being prosecuted. You'll notice that there is a certain amount of work that's being done on the site right now. However, that work has not been cleared. In 2020, 2 more criminal cases were filed concerning the condition of the garage. The garage, underground garage, is in a deplorable condition. Our expert, Mr. Grusenmeyer, has been on it. He's done an excellent job. We think it's a threat to public safety. Charges were filed. Those were eventually stayed as well. The court has not taken action on those. As a result, in June of this year, we filed a civil injunction action downtown. We've asked the Common Pleas Court to enjoin the continuing violations. We believe it presents a threat to the public safety. That was set for a phone conference. It's actually set, answer was filed, it's set for a phone conference tomorrow. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but I just want to let you know that the building department and previously through Director Lieber, Director Gallo, and the law department have been continuing to work on this to try to get compliance to ensure that anybody in that building is going to be safe. So the pending cases concern the outside wall, it concerns the condition of some of the balconies, and it concerns the condition of the garage spread out over the past 4 years in 3 different cases in 2 different courts. So we're going to continue to work on it. I know I think what we're going to find out is that their attempts to repair it are going to be more, and you see the work, there's scaffoldings there, but I think the problems are more pervasive than anybody realizes, but we'll find out. But we need the building to be safe, we need people to be protected, we don't need passersby or residents to be injured in the garage or in the periphery of the building or on their balconies. So I just want to let you know, I know you see some work going on there, that's what's happening. And it's taken a long time. I still don't know how much longer it's going to take, but we're going to continue to push to have this situation rectified. So I just want to bring you up to speed on that. Thank you for your indulging me, excuse me, and that concludes my report.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilwoman Heeman.
If I may, I have a quick question about this Mr. Gross report. I have a question about the apartment complex, if I may.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you. What is the status of their elevators? Are they both working, or do they still have only one working?
Madam President, if I may?
Yes.
I do not have any case pending in law regarding the elevators, but I can certainly check with building if there's any open files on building. Sometimes I think that's also a fire code issue, so I can see a fire, because there were some fire inspections earlier in the year, and I can check to see if there's any notation about elevators not functioning.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Director. I believe that there was a period for almost 2 years where only one elevator was working. The other was out of service because of some part that they could never accomplish receiving. So thank you for checking. I appreciate it and look forward to the update. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam President. It's kind of another example of ongoing maintenance issues. If there was a period of time when the elevators weren't working, look at the other issues that are still unresolved 4 years after we actually, I'm sorry, Madam President, but the record of Jeff Grusenmeyer trying to get these people to fix their building doesn't go back 4 years, it goes back over decades. So this has been an issue that's been going on for years, and it's not been resolved. So I'm not surprised to hear that. I hope it's not accurate, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. And I'll check with building and fire. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Director Kopfer, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, I do, Madam President. I'm looking at the RETA collections through September, and they're 1.3 million behind prior year, which is 10.8%, which actually is an improvement as to percentage-wise as to what it was from before, earlier in the year. We I believe, I will double check this, and if it's different, I'll let you know. But I believe when we reduced the revenue in March, we reduced it by 1.6 million. So I think that we're doing better than what we reduced it by, if that's any consolation. Additionally, Rita has done some analysis, and I believe Levin College of Urban Affairs has also done some analysis on the impact of people who are working remotely from home versus in their office space, and what that might do to each municipality in there. And they ran several scenarios of if everyone was still at home and nobody was working, everyone was working remotely, and then if like 50% and 20% or something like that, they each did different percentages. So I'm happy to say that, I mean, obviously they're only estimates, and they're based on, Levin is based on 17 revenue or collections, and Rita's based on 18. We both are fairly budget neutral on that in all the scenarios, which is good. I attribute it to having 100% credit in place, and also that we have more people that work outside, residents that work outside city than we have residents or people that come in and work here, especially in an office environment. So that is encouraging. Obviously, would like everyone to get what they're entitled to and no city to suffer, but we can only worry about ourselves at this point. And then the last item is that today was the filing deadline for the first Office of Budget and Management CARES Act funding report. So, and we did comply with it. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director. Moving into council committee reports, Councilman Broussard, Chairman of the Public Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee, do you have a report this evening?
No report, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Williamson, Chairwoman of the Building, Zoning, and Development Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do, Madam President. Thank you. The Building, Zoning, and Development Committee met on October 13th at 7:22 p.m. to discuss ordinance number 2020-77, which reads an ordinance amending section 1135.02 of the zoning code of the city of North Olmsted entitled accessory uses for the purpose of eliminating the 200-foot residential lot setback requirement for animal shelters used for chickens. Present at this meeting were committee members Williamson, Limpert, and Schuman, council members Glassburn, Heeman, and Kelly, our planning director, building official, finance director, law director, mayor, and guests. After a lengthy discussion on this matter, a motion was made to hold this ordinance in committee in order to obtain additional information, and that motion passed with a vote of 3-0. Subsequently, the committee meeting has been rescheduled to October 27th at 7:40 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Schuman, Chairman of the Finance Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do. Thank you, Madam President. The Finance Committee met tonight at 7:30, October 20th, 2020. Present were Council President Jones, members of the committee, Kelly, Broussard, and Schuman, along with council members Heeman, Glassburn, Williamson, and Limpert. Also directors Gallo, Garreau, and the mayor, and I hope I didn't miss anybody, along with guests. First on the agenda was 2020-109, an ordinance amending and reestablishing section 16101 of chapter 161 of the administrative code entitled non-bargaining unit employee benefits in order to adjust funeral leave benefits as amended. This ordinance addresses employees' bereavement leave benefits, obviously. They will be increased from 3 to 5 days. Grandparents and employees' spouses, grandparents of employees' spouse are added as immediate family members, and the language has been amended to include anyone listed with approval of supervisor or director instead of from any family member, which was on the original legislation. So at this time, I'd like to move that we amend 2020-109 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to amend ordinance 2020-109 made by Councilman Schuman, seconded by Councilman Broussard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuman,
Yes.
Mr. Broussard,
Yes.
Ms. Heeman, Mr. Limpert,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn,
Yes.
Ms. Williamson.
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-109 is amended with a vote of 7-0.
The committee voted 3-0 as amended to recommend to full council. Next on the agenda was 2020-110, which is a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with Ohio Council 8, Local 2681 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, for the city's service workers for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023. This resolution, if adopted, will allow the city to enter into a 3-year agreement with AFSCME service union employees. These are service and wastewater treatment plant employees. This is again, 3-year agreement with no cost of living increase in 2021, a 2.5% cost of living increase in 2022, 2.5% cost of living increase in 2023. And that is in keeping with the other agreements that we've passed this year, accepted this year. The contract changes also include the following holidays: Martin Luther King Jr. Day, all-day Christmas Eve, and all-day New Year's Eve. There were some changes to the clothing allowance. It will be increased by $200. Vacation sellback will be limited to 2 weeks. No sick bonus will be, the no sick bonus will be eliminated, and the city will no longer pay a premium for a commercial driver's license for new employees after January 1st, 2021. This was recommended 3-0 by committee to full council. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Madam President.
Director
Mr. Schuman, did you have me on as attending? Because I was there, I just didn't have my camera on. And
I'm sorry if I missed you. I apologize.
I missed who you said was there, but I was, and I didn't think I heard my
Didn't say your
name.
name, but apparently Director Kopfer was there for the meeting. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Limpert, Chairman of the Streets and Transportation Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do have a report this evening, Madam President. Thank you. The Streets and Transportation Committee met on 13 October 2020 at 8:30 p.m. Present were committee members Limpert, Kelly, and Glassburn, council members Heeman, Schuman, and Williamson, the mayor, finance director, plan director, consultants from the Mott McDonald, as well as guests. The consulting group, Mott McDonald, and guests. On the agenda was Resolution 2020-111, which was a resolution directing to make application to ODOT for funding for safety-related improvements to Clegg Road and further authorizing funds for the required local match. The committee received a presentation on the results of the safety study performed by Mott McDonald traffic consultants for improvements to the intersection of Clegg Road at Maple Ridge Road and including pedestrian walk at Clegg Road and related corridor improvements. The City of North Olmsted is eligible to apply for safety funding through the Ohio Department of Transportation with a condition of 10% local matching. The consultants addressed their recommendations and reasons the center turning lane or additional turning lanes were not merited by safety standards given the offset between cross streets and the expectation. They also expect a 30% efficiency increase by adding the turning lane at Maple Ridge and Clegg Roads. Committee member Kelly expressed a desire to have a turning lane available, especially at Alexander, and committee member Glassburn and Limpert requested an estimate of what the cost might be for the city to add a turning lane, as the consultants believed it would not be in scope of ODOT's 90-10 matching. Councilman Glassburn also inquired about safety concerns related to the pooling of water on the street and if that was considered evaluated as part of the study. The motion was made to hold in committee and passed by a vote of 3-0, and the meeting concluded at 9 o'clock. Madam President, this concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Heeman, Chairwoman of the Environmental Control Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do not have a report this evening, Madam President, but if I may have a moment of privilege, please.
Yes.
Thank you. So I would like to report that the sign has gone up at the corner of Canterbury and Butternut Ridge for the Pocket Park installation. It went up yesterday, I think. So I'm waiting to see, as the work begins and how it starts to progress. And I'd like to thank everybody, of course, for having that little project. I know it was a little bit of work for us all to accomplish the vote, but I think it would be a nice addition to that corner. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Glassburn, Chairman of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, do you have a report this evening?
Sorry, my computer was no report this evening, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Kelly, Chairman of the Recreation, Public Parks and Buildings Committee, do you have a report this evening?
I do have a report. Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Recreation, Public Parks and Buildings Committee was held on 10/13/20, started at 9:20 p.m. This was discussed 2020-108, donation of patio pavers and furniture by the mayor to the city. Attending was Council President Jones, Councilman Glassburn, Heeman, Kelly, Limpert, Schuman, Williamson, the mayor, finance director, HR director, planning director, clerk of council, and guests. It's a resolution to accept the donation of patio pavers and furniture from the mayor, Kevin M. Kennedy, for use by the city of North Olmsted. The mayor stated he donated the patio pavers and that it was installed on the north side of City Hall outside of the mayor's window, and that the mayor stated he paid for the installation. Many questions were asked. It basically came about to the fact that why didn't he come to City Council first before doing the project? A request was made by committee member Heeman for documentation of costs, so that at that point the resolution was held in committee, and it ended at 9:43 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any letters or communications to come before council at this time?
No, Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you for joining our council meeting tonight. At this time, council will hear comments from the public. Please remember to state your full name and address for our clerk. If you live in a city other than North Olmsted, please state the name of the city. And we will start with those who have notified us via chat. Anyone who has not notified us via the chat feature who would like to comment, please unmute your phone and start your comment when prompted. Council Clerk, has anyone notified you that they would like to comment this evening?
No, Madam President.
Thank you. At this time, if there's anyone on the computer or the phone who would like to comment, please address council now.
Hello, Council.
Hello, how are you?
Good. My name's Andrew Harrent, and I am the branch manager of the North Olmsted branch of Cuyahoga County Public Library, and I am a resident of Lakewood, Ohio. So I would like to inform Council and speak a little bit to let you know that if in case you haven't heard, that the library has a levy issue on the upcoming November 3rd election ballot. And I just wanted to give you some information about issue 70. It is a 1 mil continuing levy request that will generate approximately $18 million annually for the Cuyahoga County Public Library System, which will benefit the North Olmsted Library. So it will cost residents less than $3 per month per $100,000 of home value. So Cuyahoga County Public Library was last on was last asking for taxpayer support over a decade ago, 12 years ago in 2008. So since then, revenue from our local property taxes has decreased by 14%. So this funding will enable us to continue to operate all 27 of our branches, including the North Olmsted Library. It'll preserve evening and weekend hours and makes necessary safety and security updates. So it will also help us to sustain a robust materials collection and maintain critical services like our very popular after-school services, homework help, video games for the kids. We also have job training programs, and we also have partnered with the food bank to offer after-school meals. If this issue happens to fail, we may be looking at cuts to open hours, likely closing some evenings and weekends, and reductions in services and collections. So we sincerely hope that this issue passes, and we thank you for your time and your consideration. If you have any more information, you can ask for me at the library or look on the library's website. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager, and we appreciate you giving council updates, not just now, but you frequently stop by to our meetings to give us updates, and we certainly appreciate that. And if I could just ask also for the record, could you please just provide the clerk with your street address as well?
Madam President, I believe he stated he was a resident of Lakewood.
Yes.
Yeah. So the library's address is 27403 Lorraine Road, North Olmsted, Ohio, and my personal address is 1223 Summit Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Sturgeon.
Thank you very much. A couple of things I just wanted to voice my opinion on. One of them is the first one I wanted to talk about, in my opinion, about was the chicken coops. I just want the city know that I'm for this. I think it is a really good thing that it's done, but I really think that it has to be done in a manner that protects neighbors, and I think it should be possibly regulated. I think that the way I look at it, I see it so far, I only see 3 regulations, total of 10 chickens, no roosters, and 25 feet from a house. And I don't believe that 25 feet from a house is a very good requirement. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been a basis where we've used a house as a requirement for a structure. We've always used property. Whether it be a shed, garage, or I've never heard of anything where we've used the house rather than that. And I also I've heard nothing about any sanitation, anything to prevent disease such as salmonella, which go hand in hand with chickens, or possibly regulating or requiring vaccinations. If this is something that's allowed. And I think maybe it'd be a good idea to ask the county or the state health department for some guidance in this. I don't think it can hurt anything at all. I also don't think that going back to 25 feet, that you're not looking at, every house is not the same, every property is not the same. For example, I have an irregular lot. My property abuts 6 other neighbors. And I don't think it would happen, but theoretically I could have 6 chicken coops. So I could be surrounded by chicken coops. And I think that that's something that we have to look at. And same with a duplex. You know, what if one family, there are duplexes in North Olmsted, and what if one family in a duplex wants one and one doesn't? You know, how's that going to work out? Or apartment building, you know, what if the apartment building says, yeah, it's okay to have chicken coops? How are we going to regulate that? I also want to talk now, is my opinion on about Clegg Road. I think Clegg Road, in my opinion, is best suited to be duplicated like it is on the north side of Lorraine. I'm very familiar with Clegg Road. I grew up on Clegg Road. My mother lived there and just recently moved after almost 60 years on Clegg Road. And I can tell you that the improvements that were done on Clegg Road was a huge, huge improvement. If you look at Westlake, most of Clegg Road already has a turning lane in it. It has it from Detroit to Center Ridge. The only area it doesn't is from Center Ridge to the North Olmsted border. I also think the crosswalk by the park that was shown, and also I think that what I was shown was very professional. That group, what they did show, that was a very great presentation. But the crosswalk that they shown, I think, is a great improvement for that. And I think that should have been done years ago. But I'd also would like to see maybe if they could add some lower lights that be more at eye level. That a light is going to be kind of high. It has to be high enough so sunlight can make it underneath it. And a lot of times if you're in a car, it's easier to see something at eye level. And I see other cities, like if you go down into Westlake, like there, Clegg Park, they had flashing lights at eye level.
1 minute left, Mr. Sturgeon.
Okay, I think that's it then. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
And Mr. Sturgeon, for our clerk, could you please list your street address?
3092 West 231.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilman Glassford.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to note for Mr. Sturgeon, and first off, thank you for continuing to be an active participant and advocating for what you believe in here. As you heard earlier, we're doing more work on Clegg Road, or in terms of looking at Clegg Road. But our clerk on the chicken coop question has done quite a bit of research and provided us with a full henhouse of information about what other cities are doing in terms of their regulations. And so we have a lot to look through, and I'm sure we will be taking a second crack at this if we decide to proceed. Thank you.
Seeing no other comments from our audience, we will now move into legislation.
Legislation on third reading. Resolution 2020-102, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. A resolution directing the fiscal officer of Cuyahoga County to pay to the city of North Olmsted, Ohio, during the year 2021, all money due and owing said city from any collection source.
Madam President,
Councilman Schuman.
I'd like to move for adoption of 2020-102. Ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt resolution 2020-102 made by Councilman Schuman, seconded by Councilman Broussard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Broussard?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-102 is adopted with a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance 2020-103, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $1,415,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to provide funds to pay part of the city's portion of the cost of improving Brook Park Road between certain termini in cooperation with the Department of Transportation of the State of Ohio by grading, draining, curbing, reconstructing and rehabilitating the pavement base, and adjusting, constructing, and reconstructing catch basins, curbs and curb ramps, manholes, and utility valve alignment boxes where necessary, preparing the surface and resurfacing, and providing decorative lighting and landscaping, in each case together with necessary appurtenances and work incidental thereto.
Madam President,
Councilman Schuman.
I'd like to move for adoption of 2020-103 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2020-103 made by Councilman Schuman, seconded by Councilman Broussard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuman?
Yes.
Mr. Broussard?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Ms. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-103 is adopted with a vote of 7-0.
Resolution 2020-104, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. A resolution authorizing the mayor or director of public service to advertise for bids for the award of a contract to purchase concrete materials and related supplies for the year 2021 as detailed in the specifications on file with the engineer, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for the same with the lowest and best bidder.
Madam President,
Councilman Limpert.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-104 and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt resolution 2020-104 made by Councilman Limpert, seconded by Councilman Kelly. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
Ms. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn?
Yes.
Mr. Broussard?
Yes.
Mr. Schuman?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-104 is adopted with a vote of 7-0.
Legislation on second reading. Ordinance 2020-109, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. An ordinance amending and reestablishing Section 161.01 of Chapter 161 of the Administrative Code, entitled Non-Bargaining Unit Employees Benefits, in order to adjust funeral leave benefits as amended. Resolution 2020-110, introduced by Mayor Kennedy. A resolution approving of and authorizing the mayor to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with Ohio Council 8, Local 2681 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, for the city service workers for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023. Legislation on first reading. Ordinance 2020-112. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to request proposals from certified public accountants to provide GAAP conversion assistance services for the preparation of the 2020 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, CAFR, and further authorizing the mayor, subject to approval of the Board of Control, to enter into a five-year agreement with a two-year option with the professional selected in the RFP process, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President,
Mayor.
I'd like to introduce, place on first reading.
Resolution 2020-113, a resolution dispensing with the RFP process and authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Pipe Vision Products for the purpose of providing construction services for the Clegg Road Stormwater Pipeliner at Tree Lane, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President,
Mayor.
I'd like to introduce, place on first reading, and request suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings and formal committee review.
Madam President,
Councilman Lippert.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings. This was discussed in caucus and ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings and formal committee review made by Councilman Limpert, seconded by Councilman Kelly. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Schuman,
Yes.
Ms. Williamson,
Yes.
Mr. Broussard,
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn,
Sewer
Mr.
issues,
Glassburn,
Sorry, we couldn't hear your vote.
that's okay. No with comment. While sewer issues continue to be a pressing matter in this area of town, if this item was budgeted for nearly a year ago and the residents aren't aware of the problem, I did not hear a specific citation of any urgency for this specific project that meets the criteria specified in our charter for normal emergencies. So I will vote no.
Ms. Heeman,
With a comment, this normally would have come to the Environmental Committee, of which I am the chair, and that, it's been budgeted for a year, but never brought to me, never a whisper. I'd also like to look forward to having an update on when we will be seeing the hiring of a service director. Marin, I'm hoping that you can give us an update as to where you are with looking for applications, accepting them, and or considering hiring one, because clearly this is a situation that we are in now where we shouldn't actually have to be doing this on an emergency basis. Thank you.
That motion passes with a vote of 5-2. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address council regarding resolution 2020-113, please do so now. Is there a motion on the floor to adopt resolution 2020-113?
Madam President, I make a motion to adopt Resolution 2000-113. Ask for a second.
Second.
Motion to adopt resolution 2020-113 made by Councilman Limpert, seconded by Councilman Kelly. Roll call, please.
Mr. Limpert,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Broussard,
Yes.
Mr. Glassburn,
Yes.
Ms. Heeman,
Yes, with a comment that I would not really want to hold up things for the residents. And so I will vote yes on this. Thank you.
Mr. Schuman,
Yes.
Ms. Williamson,
Yes.
Resolution 2020-113 is adopted with a vote of 7-0. Moving into scheduling council committee meetings, starting with tomorrow, October 21st. Councilwoman Williamson.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to schedule a Building, Zoning, and Development Committee meeting, which is already set for tomorrow at 7 p.m. to discuss ordinance numbers 2020-78 and 2020-79. And then on October 27th, another Building, Zoning, and Development Committee meeting at 7:40 p.m. to discuss ordinance number 2020-77. Thank you.
Thank you. And next Tuesday, October 27th, Councilman Schuman.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll have a Finance Committee meeting at 7 o'clock, Tuesday the 27th. On the agenda will be 2021-12, and I'd ask the Finance Director to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Limpert.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to schedule a Streets and Transportation Committee meeting on that night, October 27th at 7:05, and would ask that the planning director and any experts on resolution 2020-111 be present.
Thank you. We will have a committee of the whole meeting starting at 7:20 p.m. to discuss codification contract and legislation regarding elected officials' salaries, setting those salaries for the next 4 years. And we will conclude at 7:40, and then we will roll into the meeting that Councilwoman Williamson already put on the schedule, BZD, at 7:40. I would like to remind council and our guests and the administration that our next regularly scheduled council meeting will be on Wednesday, November 4th, due to Election Day being Tuesday, November 3rd. And with our agenda being completed and there being no further business to come before council, this meeting of October 20th, 2020 is adjourned at 8:47 p.m.